Today, Treyarch revealed a bunch of really cool stuff for Firebase Z, some new information on different elemental variants of the Ray Rifle Wonder Weapon, some cool information here on the Dark Aether zombie boss, that's the Margwa Blightfather mixture, and it goes through so much cool stuff, how this zombie boss can morph into all different objects and beings, potentially making prop hunt canon, so we'll talk about that as well, and then we'll talk about other potential remakes, what we're seeing in Firebase Z. Is Firebase Z based off of other prior maps? Where is Shinonuma? Some people on Reddit are saying they see elements of Verrucht in this new map, so we'll go through that as well. If you can, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel for more Black Ops Cold War content. The support has been unreal recently, as I've been saying, so seriously, I appreciate you guys joining the channel. Let's get started here first with the Ray Rifle blueprint here. Now, this blueprint really gives us some good information as to what we're seeing with this wonder weapon, gives us a better understanding as to what exactly it is. Treyarch tweets out, "Behold the latest breakthrough in Omega weapons development, the RAI-K84, the Ray K84, and most of us, I think everyone's in agreement, I've been seeing on Twitter and Reddit, we're gonna call it the Ray K." Now, this pretty much is the Ray Rifle. You guys know, we've been talking about the Ray Rifle. It was a wonder weapon that was leaked in the pre-alpha files of Black Ops Cold War Zombies. We all thought it was going to be added to Die Maschine at launch. It wasn't. It was seemingly scrapped from the game, but I said there's no way they're not going to bring the Ray Rifle to the game. That is definitely a wonder weapon that people would be interested in using, and it seems like here, this is the Ray Rifle. Now, let me know down below, do you like the name, the Ray Rifle, or do you like Ray K? I mean, Ray K is kind of cool. It's a ray gun AK. Kind of clever what Treyarch did there, so I'm fine with it being the Ray K in the game. And the wonder weapon is super cool looking. We talked about it yesterday, but in this blueprint, it actually gives us some confirmation as to what we're seeing here with the different variants of the wonder weapon. In the trailer, you have just this one purple element, maybe stemming from Dark Aether material. We don't exactly know what that is, but in this blueprint, it shows a part of the wonder weapon that is an element converter, which would mean that it would be able to convert the ammo or the elements into other types of elements for different usages in the wonder weapon. So again, let me know down below, what elements would you want to see for this Ray K wonder weapon in Firebase Z? Do you want similar stuff to what we saw in Die Maschine? And how exactly are we going to get these different elements? I feel like they're gonna do the same thing as Die Maschine, just very minor, small quest to get different types of elements for this wonder weapon, and they're probably also gonna have an option to get a free Ray K in Firebase Z with a simple quest, just like we saw with Die Maschine. Treyarch also revealed a new autopsy report for this new zombie boss that we saw in the Firebase Z trailer yesterday, and there's a lot of really cool information about how this boss was created and what he might be doing in this new zombies map. So to go through here, a little translation, I'm getting this from Reddit, so I'll leave a link to the guy down below, but here's what all of this says. It says, Spetsgruppe Omega autopsy report. Examiner, Dr. Dmitry Koklay, species unknown, date May 1984, identification, specimen K7 1924, specimen recovered from the Dark Aether dimension in May 1984, recovered by Schenk. Subject was captured alive. While caged, subject transformed into several common objects seemingly at will. Weight of subject changed based on the object it transformed into. And this is super interesting. So it took form of a crate, an equipment storage container, a chair, a rifle, an Ethereum containment canister, and it also says subject was terminated after escaping containment by taking form of a rifle. Guard unwittingly opened cell, not realizing. With additional research, we could potentially adopt creatures' camouflage ability for humans. Warfare implications are massive. And prior to termination, subject used prehensile tentacles to attack soldiers as it stormed through the base. Tentacles appear to operate independently from the arms and the legs. Subject able to extend tentacle and grapple unsuspecting humans. Upon examination, DNA is part human. Disfigured face observed in autopsy report resembled that of Private Glazkov, missing in action last month in Dark Aether dimension. Now, this is super interesting. It seems like, again, Omega Group is using this zombie boss and trying to figure out how to weaponize this boss, as it talks about here, for, you know, actual human warfare uses. And this would be a huge thing if they capture this idea of being able to take the form of any type of object. This is where we talk about prop hunt here, because, you know, maybe we will get some type of crazy prop hunt canon reference, or, you know, this is how prop hunt actually works. And at least from a zombies perspective, this is how you're able to take the form of all of these different items and objects, you know, through this species here, this unknown species. Super cool to see if they actually continue and do anything of that. And it would just be kind of cool to have some type of zombies prop hunt side game mode, and maybe we will get that as a limited time zombies mode in the future. But some more stuff here with this unknown species, this zombie boss. Are we going to see him take the form of different objects during this map? If this is his use, if this is what he can do, he might not just be a normal zombie boss that runs around the map, we kill him, and then he spawns in a couple of rounds. He might be doing some crazy stuff, and he might actually become a nuisance. And I feel like this might have to do something with the Easter egg here, where during the Easter egg, this zombie boss, this Margwa Blightfather creature, actually morphs into different objects, and during the Easter egg, we kind of have to find him and capture him in some type of way. So this is definitely super cool, and it will play some type of interesting role in this new Firebase Z zombies map, and potentially the Easter egg as well. And someone else says here, which is a very good point, this part is the most interesting to me. Someone mutated after only a month. It took eons for the keepers to mutate into the apothecons, and there are humans who have survived thousands of days in the Dark Aether with no corruption. There has to be something specific that causes people and creatures to mutate like this. Now, as far as we know within the Dark Aether, people just mutate at different rates. I'm not so sure if we have an explanation and understanding as to, you know, why someone will mutate faster than something else. The Dark Aether is just there. Some people are perfectly fine in the Dark Aether, as we've seen from some intel and D Machina. Some people have been slowly corrupted. We've been talking about recently Samantha Maxis potentially being corrupted by the Dark Aether. Now, will she mutate as fast as this guy did? Will she just be this figure, this being in the Dark Aether that actually survives and stays normal for a pretty long time? A lot of different questions here, so leave your theories, your ideas down below. We'll probably get more information as to really how the Dark Aether works in some more Firebase Z intel and future intel for the Cold War Zombies maps. Now, this zombie boss was actually found in the files for Cold War Zombies, and it's been there for several months now. We've talked about this. It's a mimic zombie, and Naticos is giving us some information here. Here are the model names for the different parts of this zombie. You have Mimic, Whip, Sack, Head, and then Z head, and then he shows an image of potentially what these features are for this new zombie boss. The whips are up there, the sack is down below the head on the neck, it seems like, and we'll understand more how exactly this zombie works once we actually get to play Firebase Z. And a poster that was revealed a couple of days ago by Treyarch actually explains as to what this zombie is doing. The top row says, "You think you're safe, you're wrong," and then the bottom row says, "Be careful, the enemy is everywhere." And this is literally the mimic zombie coming out of this canister, which in the autopsy that Treyarch revealed for this zombie boss, they literally say, which we just read earlier, that, you know, this zombie boss can take the form of a canister and different stuff like that. So this is literally what's happening here. So it's gonna be super cool to see how exactly this enemy attacks us. Will he be actively taking the form of all of these different objects during a normal gameplay, or is this more of an Easter egg Dark Aether storyline type of deal here? So let me know your opinions on this down below. Within the Firebase Z trailer, a bunch of people were looking at the trailer and trying to figure out, are there old elements from past zombie games or past Call of Duty assets in general that were reused and brought into Firebase Z. Let's talk about some stuff with remakes in Firebase Z and future zombie maps. So someone over on Reddit said this, Verrucht in Firebase Z, and they show an image here comparing the Verrucht building to a building scene in the Firebase Z trailer, someone responds, it's the same Soviet building from Fractured Jaw in campaign, the Black Ops Cold War campaign. And then they say, from the moment where you get off the chopper with Sims until you reach the red door, the whole neighborhood is basically full of buildings like the ones in Firebase Z. And a side note, the satellite area reminds me of Array from Blackout, and that is very true. Those are two things here, two parts of Firebase Z where they're using old assets from different parts of their game and past games. The buildings and the village portion of Firebase Z are directly from the campaign. We already knew that was going to happen. Firebase Z and the Vietnam campaign missions in Black Ops Cold War both take place in pretty much the exact same locations in Vietnam. So we already knew we were going to see some type of campaign element or assets from the campaign used and brought into Firebase Z. The array portion of this map is very, very interesting. I don't know why exactly they decided to do it. It does look pretty cool. There is a clear resemblance there. Again, I don't know the explanation behind that, but definitely is a pretty cool feature here. One thing we did talk about, which we're not seeing in this map, is a small remake of Shinonuma into Firebase Z. And I honestly thought that the Cold War Zombies maps, a bunch of the DLC maps, pretty much every map we saw in this game would follow the format of D Machina. D Machina's format is a small portion of the map is Nocturne Totem, a majority of the map is a new map. And we talked about in the past a bunch of the remakes being teased, and each of the Cold War Zombies DLC maps having this same type of vibe where you have a small remake and majority of the map is a new map. It seems like they're not necessarily doing that here. I guess they're using old assets from, Array, they're using assets from the campaign, and maybe that's their version of having a small remake of the map and majority of the map being a new map. But I feel like that's not really a callback to an old Zombies map in the way that D Machina was a clear callback to Nocturne Totem. So it's going to be very interesting to see moving forward for the future DLC zombie maps. Are we going to see these remakes here, or are we just going to see random maps with different assets, maybe new, maybe not completely new, maybe a remake from an old map, maybe not in the next map? I think for the Berlin Zombies map, there's almost no way they're not going to have a small portion of Kino and maybe even Verrucht added in the Berlin map. For other maps, the Ural Mountains map, maybe that will be a completely original map, and maybe they'll use some assets from the campaign, because a bunch of missions in the campaign, the fire team maps in Black Ops Cold War, takes place around the Ural Mountains, so that would make sense as to why they use assets from there, and it's just gonna be pretty cool. So let me know down below, do you want to see the DLC maps for Cold War Zombies follow the D Machina format? A small part is a remake, a majority is a new map. Do you want to see more maps like Firebase Z, where they use stuff from the campaign, they use stuff from past Treyarch games, maybe even multiplayer, doesn't even matter honestly? Or do you want to see just completely new original maps with nothing, zero assets used from any other part of the game? Definitely be sure to let me know down below. And that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. Leave a comment down below, Firebase Z, if you watched the entire video. It is greatly appreciated. Shout out to the YouTube channel members as always, and I'll see you guys in the next video or live stream. Peace out, guys.